Then Sports Central, we go for a college football game preview and prediction on the Week 2 matchup between the Texas Longhorns and the Michigan Wolverines. A huge matchup for both teams coming up here in Week 2. You got Texas. This is a team that can win it all this season. They're taking on Michigan, the defending national champs. We'll be going for a full game preview and prediction on this matchup here today. So with that, let's get started. Both teams starting out the season 1-0. Texas beat Colorado State 52-0 this past week. That game is a perfect example why this team is such a true national contender. The experience of this team, they're a complete team on both sides. Quinn Ewers, this is a legit Texas team this season that I could see winning it all. You look at Michigan on the other side, beat Fresno State 30-10, but this was a pretty close game all the way through. Fresno State's defense really played well. Who knows? Fresno State could be a contender for the Group of 5 position this season. That's definitely a possibility, but Michigan's offense just really didn't look that good. That's just something we're going to have to face, though, I think, early on for Michigan, is some of the growing pains and the adjustments of this team. This is a much different team than what we saw last season. Obviously, that's a given considering how strong and experienced they were, and obviously they won a national championship because of it. But Michigan is still going to be a strong team this season, not to be overlooked. I feel like a lot of still slept on Michigan this past offseason, which is something that Michigan is definitely going to use to their advantage here. But with that, games will be on Saturday in Ann Arbor. Kickoff is noon Eastern. Spread's going Texas by 6.5, which I would say it makes sense to see Texas as the favorite here. But going on the road to the Big House, this is a game that should be pretty close overall. Over under 44.5. So a lower scoring game can be expected. FPI going Texas as well. We saw these two teams play each other only once before. That was back in 2005. Your key points for this one, Texas. This team has experience and they are built to win this season. You consider where this team was last season. They were a complete dominant team last year. Feels like in 2024, we're just going to see a better version of what was such a strong team last season. So we saw that in week 1, the way this team can be dominant. Quinn Ewers, he leads, you could argue, the best offense in the country this season with the players they've added. And obviously Quinn Ewers, as good of a quarterback as he is. This is, even the defense, this is a complete team on both sides. And I would say this applies for both teams. This game will reveal a lot about not only Texas, but also Michigan. The Wolverines at this point, they're a much different team than they were last season. They're still working through some adjustments. So this is kind of a tough time to play Texas, that's for sure, if you're Michigan. But this is, whoever wins this game is, I would say, on a pretty strong path to a really successful season. But for Michigan, coming off a close battle against Fresno State, won it by 20, but once again, it still was a close game all the way through. The quarterback situation still in the air. Defense should be the main strength of Michigan this season. It was a huge strength last year. Best defense in the country, and honestly, they'll probably have a top 3, top 5 defense this season, I would say, as well. They've obviously, all around, this is a much different team to what we saw in 2023. It's just tough to, at this point, compare this team to what we saw last year, especially with the coaching situation being different. But I'll say it again, just don't sleep on Michigan. This is still a really strong team that could have a really strong season, obviously, despite all the changes that have happened. But with that, let's get a prediction here for Texas and Michigan coming up here in week 2. Biggest matchup of the week. In the end, I do want to go with Texas to pull this one out. I'm going Texas 24-17. I see this being more of a lower scoring matchup. Michigan's defense, I think, will come through and at least keep it close, but I just don't know if it's going to be enough. And I just don't know if Michigan's offense, in the current state it's in, Michigan's offense isn't bad. It's just they've got a few questionable areas right now. So I do think Texas finds a way here, but it's going to be a close game, and I wouldn't be surprised if it was pretty low scoring as well. Taking the under, Texas to cover the spread in the end as well. Spread's tough to bet on here. I think it's 6.5 points right now towards the Longhorns. So I barely got Texas covering, but I think the Longhorns find a way here. This would be a huge win for them, and as they look to pursue a national championship, which very much is in the picture for the Longhorns this season. But with that, let me know your thoughts in the comments below on this matchup, your score predictions, all of that. And I appreciate you guys all watching as always. My name's Evan. This is All Sports Central. Stay tuned for more. We'll catch you on the next one.